So, welcome back to the first video made in a while.
We're all in college, except for Val. She's working.
I'm looking and I applied for college.
So, Val got a haircut that makes her look like a cockatoo.
I like my haircut. Leave me be.
Danny and I are in college. Woo. An adjustment.
I voted for the first time today.
My worst voting sticker ever.
Is like nightmare fuel. But we're talking about Andrew Tate. Anna doesn't know who he is. Me and Val both know who he is. I have a feeling me and Val are going to disagree.
Yes.
Whatever said in the podcast, promise you won't be mad at me. So, Val, I don't know what you think.
I think a lot of people who watch this are going to disagree with me and be angry with me, which I'm okay with.
I found specific clips that I knew Anna would be outraged by, specifically. I don't know if that...
Is it him talking about women?
There's a lot.
Yeah. That's one of the main things that he gets hate on, which I understand. The things he says.
I've heard the name. I just don't know specifics of who he is, and frankly, I've never cared to research it. So
he got canceled on Instagram, and his whole account got banned.
Yeah,
and everything.
I know something about canceling, and
his account got banned from like almost everything. Not almost everything. From a lot of things.
Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
Yeah.
It's just.
So I think that the first thing that we need to establish is that this is a bad person. And I have a video of him abusing somebody. So let's play that for you guys.
I was like, what?
Let's just kick things off. That was a bad choice of words.
Oh God. Yeah, it was a bad choice of words. Okay, so I was watching like a bunch of videos reacting to Andrew Tate. You see fuck.
You're a jerk. Show me the bird.
Oh, I know this one.
You see a woman,
I've seen
it. The context is that's like his romantic partner. I don't know, dating or whatever. And then the guy speaking is Andrew Tate.
Out because you're a jerk. Show me the bruises. Bang. I have an idea. You know what my idea is? You want to know what my idea is? That's right, lock the door, you knew I was going to beat the out of you. If you behaved, I wouldn't have to hit you, would I? You don't. Get out. You can't stay in there forever.
Yeah, so that's terrifying.
I want to know how old that is, how old that video is. Because, like, the quality looks terrible, which makes me think it's pretty old.
It's old.
Yeah.
It's about 10 years old, but he is a full-grown adult, so this isn't something that he did when he was, like, a teenager. Like, he was
20 then.
Well into his 20s when this happened.
Well, how old is he now? 30 what? 32, 34?
I don't know. Let me see.
He's in his young 30s, I know that. He's not old 30s.
He's 35. So this came out when he was 25. 25 is old enough to know that you don't abuse women. I would argue much younger is old enough.
Most people would say that, yes, but like he had his views, which I'm not saying alright, his views on women, which is, I hate talking about that, but his views on women, he would say otherwise. He would say otherwise. I would not say otherwise. He would say otherwise.
But when I was searching for clips, it was him defending that specific video, and he says that it was part of a reality TV show that he made and produced himself, and it was a real clip. The woman in the video has come forward and said that they had a physically abusive relationship. His argument was that he liked it. He was saying that if you've ever been around women, you know that they like that kind of stuff. And this is him now, like, defending it. Like, within the last year, he was like, if you've ever been around women, you know that they like that stuff.
What, does he think that every woman just has a masochist kink?
Apparently. I don't know.
I genuinely thought he was like a 40, 50 something year old.
No, he's 35.
He's young.
So yeah, I think you need to. I don't think it's a good debate that like he's not a good person. Point blank, he's not a good person. He's a bad person who is physically abusive, and yeah.
Okay, is anyone gonna give a rundown on who he is?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. Val,
Do
you
you-
want
That might
okay.
be it.
So he's a guy in his 30s, 35. I don't know how old he is now, right now, specifically, if he's 35 or 36. Yeah. He's he's a boxer, a fighter. Yes, thank you.
He's got a bunch of MMA stuff, and he thinks that he's hot shit.
Yeah, he's famous with that. World champion or something, I heard. And he talks on social media about his life views on different subjects: women, motivation, working out for men, who men should be and what men are, how to get rich, different views. He goes on different podcasts, he goes on different interviews, and just speaks on how he thinks life should be, you know?
He was first on the internet because he started a school, like, to get rich from the internet. Like, that was, yeah. And then clips from that started circulating online, and then he decided to have a more public presence. And he claims that he, like, made the conscious decision to start being more relevant in the past year, which I think is really funny because, like, what actually happened is that he just gained popularity. It was not a conscious decision. Like, he framed it like, oh yeah, I was irrelevant because I wanted to be, and then I decided I wanted to be in the spotlight.
So basically, he means nothing.
Yeah. His job is to tell people how to get rich off of the internet.
Wow.
And he talks about his personal opinions because he can.
What
and
a
people
hard
listen.
worker.
Also, I think his demographic is very important to discuss because it's mostly teenage boys. And I think watching some of his content, you can kind of tell that it's made for us.
I would say teenage boys in 20s and 30s, but no one older than that.
You can tell it's made for young girls.
Yes.
I am going to share with you another clip if I can find it.
I like the way he talks about Elon Musk, though. Like, he respects Elon Musk a lot. Which is very surprising because, you know, he's very... No, I've at least clips of what I've seen. He's like, I'm really sad. Like, I respect Elon Musk. I'm sad that he was upset that he didn't buy Twitter. There's rumors that Andrew Tate wants to buy Twitter.
Your only defense of this guy is that he likes Elon Musk.
I'm not defending him though. Whoa. Where is this defense? I'm not defending him. I'm just saying random, like, things that he said. Thinks very, very highly of himself. Downgrades a lot of people.
I'm sending you the first section. These two are, like, together. They're from the same show.
Andrew Tate kind of confuses me though. Because he'll say something bad about women, but then you'll see another clip where he's like, women are inferior and I will respect them with all my heart.
What?
And it's like, yeah, so like there are clips where he's like, women are my property and stuff, and then there's other clips where like, but I respect women and they're inferior.
Yeah, that women are inferior. That's the whole issue.
And like he'll say, I respect them and I love them, and I'm like,
that's not respect, though.
Yeah.
The one that I just sent is, you'll see. That one I think is the one that Anna's going to dislike the most.
Ooh, we love hating things.
So this is on his podcast. He was explaining how he keeps a machete next to his bed, a weapon of some kind in every single room in his house, which, like, okay, I guess, but yeah. And then he was like, and then what happens if you have a woman in your bed and she gets mad at you? And then she grabs the machete, and then he starts saying this.
Hang out the machete, boom in her face, and then grip her up by the neck. Like, shut up, bitch! machete's on the floor, her panties are all wet. And you go, fuck her. That's how it goes. Slap, slap, grab, choke, shut up, bitch.
Yeah.
Or,
And and there's another one.
oh,
To any kind of self-defense class, stop. Because all that's doing is giving you false confidence bullshit. And next time you're in a situation when you need to run, you're going to start thinking, oh, I know what to do. You're not fucking Steven Seagal. You're a hoe.
So basically, he is saying that women's self-defense is not useful, and that women can't fight, and that he couldn't, and that no woman ever could beat him in a fight, even if she had a fucking machete. And that if a woman ever did attack him, he would slap her and choke her, and then her question mark? Because he finished that clip, boom, sex.
I don't know if
So
I don't know if my response to that is something that YouTube would allow me to say. So, how can I would suggest that is the watered down version of what I would say. But for legal reasons, I said nothing.
There's one more there I'd actually like to really disparage because it's the one that annoys me the most, where it says, I say that women should bear some responsibility for being raped. I'd like to take this time and explain what I was saying in long format video, which has been completely misconstrued. I was talking about a girl. I was having an argument with a feminist, and she was saying that we need to teach men not to rape. And I said, my dear, I love how idealistic you are, but I am realistic. Men are already taught not to rape. She's like, no, we need to go and change language at school and rewrite history and do all the shit they're trying to do to make men weak because they think that weak men don't rape, which is another argument I want to come back to because weak men are the most dangerous men on the planet. Let's talk about that later. But I said, no, people already understand that rape is wrong. Unfortunately, human nature, some people don't care about doing wrong things. We should teach people not to steal, but they still steal. Would you agree that everyone says don't steal? The Bible says don't steal. The Quran says don't steal. Schools say don't steal. Everyone says don't steal. People still steal. So if I were to take $1 million in cash and walk down the street at night in the worst part of town holding it, to a degree, I would have some responsibility. When I got robbed, the police would come and say, why did you do that? People would say, Andrew, why did you do that? You have to protect yourself from things. You can't just rely on the ideological hope that other people in the world are going to be perfect and infallible, or that the law is going to prevent it. You have to say, no, I can't walk through the ghetto at 2 a.m. with $1 million in cash. I take personal responsibility. She agreed. I said, then by extension, would you agree that the smartest thing a woman can do to prevent rape is not to sit here on a podcast and try and change the way men think and talk about your bullshit, but to take some degree of personal responsibility and not put herself in dangerous situations? I'm not saying that's going to prevent all rape. I'm not saying that rape is okay. Rapists should be executed. I'm not saying that every single woman who was ever assaulted could have prevented it. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying the smartest thing a woman can do is say, this is dangerous. Going home with this guy I just met is dangerous. Walking through this area by myself is dangerous. Let me call a taxi. Let me call my brother. Let me go with my husband. Isn't that a more intelligent way to teach women to prevent themselves from being raped, as opposed to telling them you can do whatever you want, walk around in the middle of the night naked, it's no problem. Men shouldn't rape, men are the problem. I said, what you're trying to do is illogical. What I'm trying to say will actually prevent rape. So what you're saying, when you're telling girls do whatever you want, men are the problem, you're convincing women to put themselves in situations where bad things might happen to them. Whereas I'm saying, listen, women and men, look after yourselves. I'm a full-grown man, 4-time kickboxing world champion. There's places I don't go alone. Like I came here with security. That's called being an intelligent adult. So this is what I was trying to say. I was trying to say women need to protect themselves and bear some responsibility to make sure they don't put themselves in situations where bad things can happen to them easily. I'd like to think that's a pretty logical point. No. Andrew said rape's fine. Andrew said it's women's fault. I didn't say that. I really didn't say that. It's completely insane. If I speak to my brother's daughter, or when I have daughters of my own, and they say, I'm concerned, how do I protect myself? I'm not going to say, don't worry, here's how we're going to protect you. I'm going to rewrite the mentality of every man on the planet so you can walk around naked at night. I'm going to say, listen, you don't go out at night. I'll come pick you up. Who are you going with? That's just intelligent adult think. But they've taken it, misconstrued it, taken completely out. Like true things. I think another thing I said is and maybe I'll upset the ladies on the podcast. I hope not, but please correct me if I'm wrong.
Probably will.
I said if I were to get on a plane and that plane was to fly into the eye of a hurricane, there was a 50% chance of it crashing. I'd want a male pilot because I think that males are better under stress and under pressure. I think they're less likely to get emotional in a life or death situation. That's why they make better soldiers. That doesn't mean that doesn't make me a misogynist. That doesn't make me sexist. That's just true. Women are better at other things than men. And I'll sit here and say women are better at X, but I will say that men are better at Y. I'm not going to sit and pretend that we're all the same. We're not. Under pressure, when your life is on the line, anyone who's honest would want a male pilot in said situation. You would not want a female pilot.
So I disagree with that. I think that's a person by person, but I agree with men are stronger than women. I don't think anyone can argue that.
If you're telling me if you were to fly into a hurricane and you had the choice between a male pilot and a female pilot, you wouldn't have zero preference at all, Dave.
Not knowing anything about either of them, they're both pro pilots. No, I wouldn't. We're not talking about dunking a basketball.
Well, I would choose a man because I know from my own personal experiences that when shit hits the fan and emotions are high and it's life or death, that the man is more likely to remain calm. And calm is what's going to keep me alive. So I would choose the man. For the same reason, I would choose women to do other things. Let me give you another example then, Dave. If gender roles aren't real and you're now...
No, I think there are gender roles are real. That particular example, though, I'm sure you can have great female pilots.
I never said you couldn't. I said I'd choose a man in that particular situation.
I don't think that's like, I don't know about Brie and O'Malley. Like, that doesn't make...
Yeah, Brie O'Malley, do you think that's like, do you call that like super sexist, or where you guys...
Well, I think it's like with what Dave said too. I think it depends on the person. Like, there could be a way more emotional pilot that's a male, and then a female one that could be more emotionally stronger.
But regardless, they go through the same training.
Yeah, I think he's saying you don't know anything about the pilot. You just can pick blind. You
Yeah,
can
well,
either
obviously,
have a male
I'm
or
gonna
female.
disagree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a generalization because exceptions don't disprove the rule. You're
But
right.
I don't think that makes you like Satan for saying that.
No,
I'm
but
sure
I
there's
think
lot of
like you
people who
say a
feel
lot of
that.
stuff about women, like that they're your property.
That's not what I said. I was talking about an OnlyFans company when that question was asked. But I said that if a woman is going out with a man, she belongs to that man. That's his woman. So if she wants to do OnlyFans, she owes him some money because she's his. Yes, that's what I said.
Think
Well,
if
that's crazy.
You think if a
That
man,
was crazy.
so you think that a man going out with a girl that's just your property? There
not
there
about her
can't be
being-
an equal relationship.
That one was nuts.
Okay,
That one
cool.
was nuts.
I'm
This
nuts
is where
now.
it goes
Good.
crazy.
Cool.
No,
So
but
I'm-
no, that one you can. If I understood what you said, that if a guy and a girl is dating and a girl does OnlyFans, she owes him a cut.
No,
she's his
100%.
girl.
100%.
She is his girl
But what does that have to do with anything?
because she's his.
Yeah, so that's what.
So that is you saying that women are your property.
It's not about being property. It's about the fact that she belongs to him and the intimate parts of her body belong to him because they're in a relationship. And if she wants to sell those, he has a stake in those intimate parts of her body.
So it's reverse. Male porn star owes the woman.
I don't know because I think the women belong to the man. I think the woman's
Yeah,
given over
that's
to the man.
inherently where you get called sexist.
No, it's not. Well, you can call me sexist if you want, but if you look at marriage, it's the bride's father who gives her away. It's not the groom's father.
In
Is
old
it?
tradition.
I
this is tradition.
gotta
The
guess.
woman belongs
as
to the
some-
man.
So is
I gotta
slavery.
guess as- yeah, no, but I gotta guess as somebody who's multicultural and everything, that certainly is a tradition that does not apply everywhere.
The woman is always given over to the man. Read the Bible, read the Quran, you can go to
You're walking down the
Africa.
aisle, no chance. There's like African cultures where they don't do that.
I'm sure there are some obscure tribes somewhere. I mean, I can't say I'm not a professional.
But you get it. You seem like a very smart guy.
Understand
You
why
seem like
people
a
would
smart
say
guy.
that.
You're saying a woman is the property of a man if they're dating.
I'm not saying they're a property. I'm saying they're given to the man and they belong to the man. It doesn't mean they're a pure property without emotion. It means they're given to the man. They take the man's name.
You said
they
it's
belong
her
to the
parts.
man.
You said it's the guy's parts. You're like, if she's on OnlyFans, the guy owns those parts, so he gets a cut.
Well, those parts are intimate.
If a male porn star
Correct.
does it, he doesn't owe the girl a cut.
Correct, because he doesn't belong to her. She still belongs to him.
Correct. So that's the sexist part.
But and you've also said that you also said that you could have multiple partners, but a female that was with you couldn't also have multiple partners.
Well, a woman could say that same thing if she decided. She could say, I can sleep with multiple men, but my men can't sleep with multiple women if she so choose. We're all free individuals, right?
Yeah, but you
A woman
don't.
could
You
say
wouldn't agree if a woman said that.
I don't think I would personally find that revolting, correct? But there are women who find what I say revolting.
So you're not telling other people what to think. You're just saying how you think.
Yeah, I mean, if I think that I think if a man is not sexually exclusive. It's not the same as if a woman is, because with a woman you have the paternity issue. With a man you don't have a paternity issue. If I have 3 girlfriends and they all get pregnant, we know who the mother and who the father is. If you have 1 woman and 3 men, you don't know who even the parents are if she got pregnant. So it's a whole big issue, right? Science can step in and kind of fix it,
Definitely
but it's a
figure
good
that out.
discussion.
DNA tests are pretty.
Okay, so what do we think of the first clip in the series where he was just like, "Oh yeah, I'm not saying the women need to bear some responsibility for the rape too."
I mean, he mentions women putting themselves in dangerous situations, but like, what does he account to a dangerous situation? Not like a specific thing. Like, yes, going to parties where people are intoxicated, you lose judgment. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily the woman's fault, but like, that is a precarious situation. But at the same time, you could also get attacked like walking on the street.
Yeah, I think my main problem is, well, one, his reference. He's just his whole like stealing analogy to try to prove his point was just like, that's not how that works. But then also, like, it's not the fault of the victim that you get hurt. Like, it is not your fault. Like, just because you put yourself in a risky situation doesn't mean that the blame is on you. But yeah. Also, I don't know if you caught the bit where he's just like, every man thinks this way. We're not going to be able to change the mind of every man. He thinks that every man has the capacity to rape a woman, which says a lot about himself. I'm just saying.
He also said that the weak men are the most dangerous ones, I think.
Yeah,
Yes.
he says that. How do you quantify weak, first of all?
Yeah.
I think mostly physical. I
'Cause
think he would mean
But
physical.
I don't think it's physical because he's
from what he seems,
Mr. A woman could never beat a man in a fight.
and from what he seems to say, like with the other clips, it seems like he thinks of emotional vulnerability and like being emotional is like a weak trait.
Yeah. He thinks that being emotional is a weak trait. So when he says weak men, he doesn't mean physically weak men. He means, because he doesn't think that a woman can beat a man in a fight regardless, no matter how physically weak the man is. He thinks his weakness is something else.
Okay, I'm gonna say something that kind of goes against that, but agrees with that. Because it depends. Like, a woman can definitely beat up a man in a fight. If they really wanted to, I think, depending on the man, if the man, I think that they could. But I think that if a man were to work out, say a man and a woman were to work out, same weights, same time, same way, a man would end up being stronger, physically. They would always end up being stronger because they're developed that way. They've got the genes to become stronger, faster, whatever the scientific was. I know, I looked, whatever. So, like, physically, they would be stronger if they did the same routine, the same weights, the same everything. They would end up being stronger and being able to lift more, faster. But I also think that he's wrong with the fighting because it's also depending how you fight. Like, I think women fight a lot more smarter than men. Like, men are just like, I think some men would fight, like his mindset at least would be hands up, fists, just go out and attack. Like, women, we were like, what's around us, what can we use to fight with? You know? His way of thinking is men have to fight with the muscles and fists and kicks and whatever, like a kickboxer, you know? As us women were like, okay, there's a fucking metal pole just lying down, I'm gonna pick it up and whack him with it. Like, women can win a fight by using what's around them. I don't think if it came to a fist fight between a man and a woman who did the same workout and everything, I think the man would win. Just because it's scientifically proven that a man would win. They would be physically stronger. But that's just, like, I get where he's coming from.
That's why there's different weight classes in MMA and stuff, even within the same gender. Like, there is weight classes because some people have a physical advantage, and if you want a fair fight, you have to sort of sort people into their physical advantage, whatever. But I think the main issue with all of these clips is how little he thinks of women. I think that's the main issue.
He's old-fashioned. His thoughts are very
I wouldn't even
old-fashioned.
say old-fashioned. I wouldn't say like it's just women. I think it's just like his way of thinking is just primitive, to put it
Yeah.
simply.
He
has
seems
not developed-
unwilling to think of perspectives other than his.
He's not evolved past monkey stage, basically.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Also, I don't know if you noticed, but in the first clip, he's saying, like, oh, if you look at, he uses the same holy text, by the way, he's just like the Bible, the Quran, in both clips,
Mhm.
where, with the stealing, he's just like, oh, in the Bible it says no stealing. And then he's saying, like, and then later he mentions how, like, women were seen as property or, like, given up by their fathers or in those same texts.
Mhm.
So he obviously is familiar with, like, the way women were seen in history, especially religiously. And yet, like, that could be used to prove, like, why the mindset around rape needs to change because of the way that people have been thinking about women. People have been saying theft is bad, no stealing, for years and years and years, but not really seeing women as equal, according to the only things that he seems to reference. Yeah. So I don't know. I just think it's funny that he's, like, obviously aware of these texts.
Mhm.
And yet they could be used to support and disprove his argument.
Yeah, definitely.
In reference to the plane thing, man, woman, I don't fucking care. I just want someone who can fly the damn plane.
Yeah, like, the whole thing that women are less ability to handle things under pressure, it's, like, scientifically disproven.
Yeah, there are plenty
Like-
of women who can remain calm and cool under pressure, and a lot of men who can be emotionally volatile.
And I had to do, like, a thing for my class about, like, how the idea that women were guided purely by emotions and men were more guided by reason had a root in hysteria and, like, the sort of pseudoscience of the past, where people were like, oh, this woman is sick. She must be hysterical. Anyway.
Yeah,
It's just a woman thing. She's totally not sick or anything.
it differs
So-
person to person, I think. And I mean, even if you look back at, like, women in history, like, there are a lot of women who stand behind their husbands and are really the ones, like, being clever and planning and pushing them forward into society. Because that's the way that women back then had power. They not manipulated, but to an extent, yes, manipulated the men, manipulated their circumstances, found small ways to push themselves forward through men. The whole partner thing too, like, a relationship is two people who respect and love each other equally. And if either one of those people wants to go out and have more partners, I think that's fine, as long as there's, like, an understanding and overall, like, acknowledgement and consent and talk about that. I don't think it's up to either the man or the woman, I guess, in a monogamous relationship, that one can't do it when the other can't, because that's just not unfair. That's not fair.
Yeah. I think that boundaries should be every relationship is different thing, and as long as both parties are happy and feel respected, then it's fine. So within his relationship, he comes to an agreement where, yeah, you can, like, be online for money, but I want to get a cut. And that works for him and his partners, that's fine. But it's the double standard that he's clearly saying, like, this person belongs to the other person, period. Like, no, you don't belong to anybody. You are in a relationship. You are emotionally invested in each other. You want to make each other comfortable and happy. and that's where boundaries come in. But you know, you don't belong to anyone. That like pissed me off. And coming from like perspective of a poly person, I was like,
I thought of it as a different way. Like he says that, you know, in a terrible way that they belong to him, but my mind didn't go to that. My mind went, he's trying to say that, especially if you're not poly, if you're in a relationship, I think that it kind of include. I thought of it as like, if you're gonna sell your things online, which is fine, but like it's also kind of considered cheating. And I think instead of saying it's considered cheating, and I think that I should get part of the cut if you are truly like, you know, what's it called? Like, if you're truly with me, I should get a cut, so I know you're not like actually cheating or doing it. Like, you know, like you actually like to show that you love me. Like, if I think he like, how do I explain this? Like you say, okay, no, I'm not gonna say that because she's poly and I don't want to do that. Like, if I was dating someone and it wasn't poly and it was like monogamous, that's the word, I'd be like, you're my boyfriend or girlfriend, right? You're my boyfriend and girlfriend. You're no one else's that I know of. With his aspect, you have sex with me. You're showing all that online and selling it. I think that I should have a cut in that, because you're my girlfriend, you know, like to prove that your loyalty to me. Can I have a cut? Like, I think that's where my mind went on what he was trying to say.
yeah,
Maybe mostly because I want to make it sound better than what he actually says it. Maybe he doesn't mean it that way. I'm not sure, but that's where my mind went. So,
I think, like, if you are a monogamous couple and you think that somebody being online, you know, for money is cheating, that is valid. That is a valid boundary to have. But that doesn't mean that you own them. It just means that you're setting up this boundary. Hey, when you do this, this makes me uncomfortable. Because I get what you're saying, being uncomfortable with your partner doing that. But
how does the money?
why would them giving you a cut make you less uncomfortable? Unless they feel that, you know, you belong to them in some sense.
I think he was trying to be like, I want a cut of that if you're going to do it, because I can't stop you from doing it. So if you're going to do it, and even though if I've expressed that I'm uncomfortable with it and you're still going to do it, at least give me a cut. I think it's like if I don't agree to that, if I don't like that, like, I don't want you doing it, but I'm not going to force you to not do it if you want to do it to gain money. Because people do it to gain money, not because they enjoy it, because to gain money. So if you're going to gain money on that, despite how I feel, I would also like to have part of that cut because you are my girlfriend.
But how does a cut make it better? How does getting a cut of it make it better? Because it would make sense if
I think it just makes him feel better.
Not do this thing. So if you are going to do this thing, even though it makes me uncomfortable, then we're just not the right people for each other. That makes sense to me. How does getting a cut change that?
I think it just makes him feel better. Like, if she's getting better, she feels better getting a cut. So he thinks he should feel better by getting a cut as well.
Either way, really bad example.
I think he does think that women are property though too, in many different cases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was absolutely horrendous. So this is him defending something that he had said.
Oh,
so like, this is him depicting himself in the best light. So he believes that there was a clip of him taken out of context where he is saying, like, you know, women are responsible for getting raped because they're putting themselves in dangerous situations. And now this is him explaining himself. And this podcast, like, that I clipped this from, agrees with him. Like, they are not, like, this is him being portrayed in the best possible way. Like, this is genuinely the best clip of him I could find, and he's defending rape.
This is a clip with all the people who, instead of, I like this clip because not of how he says things, well, of how he says it, but of how people are reacting to it. Because a lot of people would just look at him and be like, he says it so terribly, I'm not even gonna try to understand him. As they're trying to get into his mind and try to understand where he's coming from, and that's what we need more people to do. We need people to understand what they're saying instead of how they're saying it.
Yeah.
Which makes me have a lot of respect for the people who are listening to this guy, because it's very hard to listen to someone like him and be like, okay, he sounds horrible, like a bad person, but what is he saying? And makes it sound a lot better, which is probably what he's intending on saying. Now, hear me out. I agree that you can't change every man's mind. You can tell a guy not to rape girls because it's terrible and wrong, and you can even say you'll go to hell. That doesn't mean they will stop doing it. They have to choose to stop doing it themselves. So, women know that. Women know that men can't be controlled. Women cannot be controlled, and they can't be forced to stop raping. If they want to rape a woman, they're gonna rape a woman. We can't stop that. We can just try to influence them. Women can do actions to prevent themselves from getting raped. Like, if they know that they're gonna go into a neighborhood that is dangerous and has a bad reputation and stuff, call up someone, call up a friend, call up a brother, call someone up to go with you to prevent that, to help with safety measures. But this only is implemented if you know that you're going to be putting yourself in that position. If you don't know that you're going to be putting yourself in that position, say you're walking down the street in a nice neighborhood that has good reputation, you get jumped and you get raped, then that's not your fault. That is their fault. That's just, you're the victim at that point. But if you are intentionally going into a place that you know is dangerous, and you know that there's crime, or there's bad people, there's like high percentage of rapes, then you should do the measures to keep yourself safe. You have that choice of making yourself safer. And if that doesn't work, then it's obviously not your fault, because then you've done everything you could to make yourself safe.
It is true. You can take measures to keep yourself safer. But that doesn't mean, like, we shouldn't have to walk around constantly afraid of being hurt. Like, that shouldn't be a thing that we have to worry about. And
Agreed.
It's like, again, common sense things, making sure that you're safe. That's all fine. But it's never the victim's fault, even if they aren't being safe. Even if they're in a super unsafe situation, it is never their fault. And I think that's, and then also the whole societal sort of view on rape, it is so very underreported. Victims are rarely believed. Like, it's just awful. It is almost impossible to actually win a case against a rapist. And that needs to change. And that can't be changed by women bringing friends along and weapons and learning self-defense, right? Like, I do agree that there are going to be some people who are just bad people and they're just going to do bad things. It doesn't matter what the hell you tell them. But I do think that if boys are raised in a culture believing that women are equal, not surrounded by people like Andrew Tate, there would be a lot less rapists.
I mean, some women also live in these underprivileged areas, so they have to kind of put themselves in a almost dangerous situation, and that is not their fault. Like, sometimes it is just unavoidable.
Yeah, I think the whole dangerous neighborhood thing is just like, there's a degree of privilege to be able to walk outside your house and you are safe, and you have to actually consciously go into an unsafe situation. Like, I think we are lucky in that we could walk around our neighborhood and feel safe, but people in a lot of other places don't get to do that.
I think men should automatically think that that's wrong and treat us with respect. Women and even men need to be treated with respect and not be raped and not be attacked and stuff, because it's just, I don't understand that shit.
That's more of a societal issue, because there is not enough money being funded towards better education, which would kind of raise the community as a whole. Like if you take an underprivileged area and you give them the opportunity to get a better education, have a safe space where they can learn things and they can go on to do better things, that will improve the whole society and communities, like group conscious. Like it will.
Very few people are born bad people. Very few places are just inherently bad places. It's just all about like what resources people have access to. There's always going to be the sprinkling of psychopaths in the world, but there's no hope. Immediate solution? Yeah, bring pepper spray. Bring a buddy. Don't be blackout drunk at a party and you don't know where you are.
Yeah.
But that's not a solution. That's just kind of like a band-aid.
I think that people often forget that women can rape too.
Yeah.
And that is something that is very much not reported in the media. So sometimes men can be just as much at risk. And I think that Andrew Tate seems like someone who would not acknowledge that that is something that could happen. Or as someone who, even if he were to acknowledge that that is something that happens, he would consider those men weak for not being able to fight off a woman, for not being able to whatever, prevent it. But it is something that does happen, and I think it should be reported more, because it's not fair that it's not fair that only the women's, well, it is not fair that only the women's side are hurt, and that's not to undermine the stories of these women, but like you never hear stories of men getting raped, and I'm sure it has just as much of a psychological and emotional effect on them as it does a woman.
Yes.
If not more, because men feel the societal need to be these strong people, have walls up, like act tough. They can't show like emotional vulnerability. So if something like that were to happen to them, it would kind of just have a huge impact on them emotionally.
And I think that's like one of my main like things that like Andrew Tate, bad person, bad takes on almost everything. But think about the people that are watching him. Like I said, his main audience is younger boys. If they're learning that you have to be this physically and emotionally strong man who, you know, has power over women and just this sort of image of toxic masculinity, and that's who you look up to, like that's not good for these boys either. There's a lot of these like sort of this like archetype on social media of just like guys whose whole personality is just being big and strong, a manly man or whatever, and like that's their whole thing. Like have you ever like tried to look up like flirting tips? Like because I'm so bad at flirting, and I googled flirting tips recently, and all of these men, they're like, I'm an alpha man and I'm going to teach you how to flirt with women, and I'm like, what? Just be nice to them. What? Like, I don't know. It's just, why are we doing this? Why are we telling people that they need to act a certain way based on what's in their pants? Like, just let people do what works for them. I don't know.
What you do will attract certain things, certain people, certain ideas, ideology, whatever. Like, we all are not the same, you know? If there are gonna be some girls who like those kind of men, and there are gonna be some girls who don't like those kind of men, like, you know, the nice type, and the ones who not so, I wanna fuck you type, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, and I think that Andrew Tate is mostly focusing on the people who want to be I want to fuck you and be more powerful than you. I want to have control over everyone and not have to worry about a thing. As instead of, he's not reaching out to the men who are like, I just want to be nice and live my life and be happy.
The relationship dynamics that he is promoting is toxic at best and abusive at worst. So,
Yes.
I think where me and you could get really heated, and Anna will just be sitting here like, oh God.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Could he have been banned from social
let's see.
Wait, banned?
I can't. He's banned from Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
Yeah.
For saying all of this stuff.
Yeah.
So
is that should he have been?
I can't tell you yes or no for Twitter or Instagram because I've never followed him on Twitter or
I say
Instagram.
no.
So I don't really.
Why is that
Really?
surprising?
You don't think he should have been banned?
No.
Why?
Do you know, on average, how many people are going out there saying stuff that's pretty much the same, if not worse? There are tons of people out there just cyberbullying and just spreading all this horrible content. Like, the stuff he's saying, is it misogynistic? Yes. Is it horrible? Yes. But at the same time, it's like, I get that, like, Instagram, Twitter, they're their own, like, companies, and they have the right to mediate what content is put on there. But at the same time, there is, like, a level of freedom of speech. As much as I don't agree with what he's saying, there is a right to that, even if they are, like, individual companies. And, like, if they want to ban him, that's fine. But, like, there are so many other bad people out there that are just spreading more horrible content that's in some ways worse than what he's doing, because there are people actively online going after other people, like catfishing, all that stuff, like impersonating, that kind of thing. And, like, I feel like the energy should more be focused towards that aspect of it, rather than some misogynist who's just spreading his stupid opinions everywhere.
My argument is that Andrew Tate's messages go against the terms of service of those companies. So when you agree to post on these sites, you agree to terms of service. And if you violate them, they can kick you off. It's a contractual agreement. He violated the contract, he gets kicked off.
What did he violate?
It's the same for everybody. Everybody should be held to the same rules. But regardless of whether or not, like, free speech, whatever, I believe he should be able to say whatever he wants to say. Thing with these companies, they have specific rules to be able to post there. If you break the rules, you can't post there. But, like, just because there are people who are worse than him that are allowed to be on, doesn't mean that he should be allowed. It just means that they have less reach, so the companies haven't realized them yet.
Yeah. So I suppose my answer is less of no, more of just it's the company's decision, but
I don't think he should have been banned. Twitter and Instagram, I don't know, because I don't know what he posted on there and what he said. YouTube, on the other hand, I've seen some of his YouTube videos before he got canceled. I don't know exactly the regulations and the rules, but I don't think he really broke them. He's not telling people to listen to him. He's not saying you have to do this or this is what's going to happen. He's not saying that at all. He's just expressing what he feels about different topics and his opinions.
He violated the hate speech rule.
Explain that.
So there's on YouTube specifically.
Yes.
There's a thing that if you say something that might incite violence or hate on a particular group of people, and I think it's like 3 strikes. So at first the video themselves, like the video that has the hate speech, will get taken down, and you get 3 strikes. After 3 strikes, your account is banned.
Okay.
So that's what happened. So he was told repeatedly, you are breaking this rule. There is a debate whether or not he was breaking the rule, whether the rule was fair. That's a separate thing. But he was told, you're breaking this rule. If you break it again, you're going to get a strike. You're going to get a strike. Do it again, you're going to get kicked off. Did it again, he got kicked off. I think that that's fair. If you don't like it, go to a different platform.
I mean, there's also taking into account that for the people who follow him and, like, are devoted fans, I guess you would say, with him banned, like, that's going to start something. There are going to be people who aren't happy with that, and they're going to go out and they're going to try and spread his message.
And that's what happened. He wasn't really that relevant until he started being controversial.
I don't know why he wasn't banned sooner at that point. Like, if they thought that him saying that was violent and broke the rules, he should have been banned a long time ago. He should have been banned the moment he started his YouTube video, because that's what he started with when he did his YouTube video, was his views on women and how he would treat women. And
his first videos were actually pretty okay. Not really okay. He's still an asshole, but they weren't violent. They weren't as objectively violent as what they are
I'm saying I think they waited a little too long to ban him. If they really,
And
if they would have banned him based off,
guys, we're gonna get banned because we're bashing YouTube. But YouTube's content
yeah,
sucks. But if we get demonetized, which we don't even have monetization, but I guarantee you we would get demonetized if we had demonetization because we are discussing topics such as rape. Right? We're not endorsing it. We are the very much opposite. But we would get banned simply because we said it. YouTube is very strict with their content moderation, and it's very unfair with their content moderation. The more views that you have, the more likely YouTube will see it, and the more likely it is to get banned, right? So it is unfair. There have been people who like you can Google it, Markiplier and this other gamer, like the less popular one got banned for playing the exact same game as Markiplier played, like the exact same game, the exact same part of the game, and his was banned because it was violent and Markiplier's wasn't. Like, it is a problem. YouTube is so bad at content moderation. They enforce it so unfairly. But I think that this is an example of them being justified in their content moderation.
I do not.
He broke the terms of service multiple times. They gave him too much grace.
Yeah.
He should have been kicked off long ago.
I don't think he should have been kicked off. I think that his video should have been taken down. Nowadays, we have to censor ourselves in order to not get in trouble. Especially on YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and stuff. You have to censor yourself when you want to say something about a topic that's going to offend other people. He did not censor himself at all. He doesn't care about that shit. He's rich, he's famous, he doesn't care about censoring himself, he doesn't care about getting in trouble. So he's going to say it how it is and continue to say it how it is until, well, he says he'll say it how it is until he gets killed. That's what he says.
He should be free to say whatever he says without fear of getting physically injured, without fear of getting arrested, without fear of whatever. But just because there's free speech doesn't mean that there's freedom of consequence.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people can still dislike you. Private companies can still kick you off of their platforms. That's just part of existing in the world where things aren't owned by the government, things are owned by people. Should private companies like YouTube have the ability to have terms of service, or should it not? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't have something like a YouTube without rules. That would be horrendous.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that the rules are fine how they are. You think that the rules should be more relaxed.
Yeah.
But regardless, it's still a private company. They still have the right to kick the dude off.
Yeah.
Anna, do you have any closing thoughts?
Not specifically.
Were we right that you wouldn't like Andrew Tate?
I don't like a lot of people, man.
I know. I love how it was like, oh yeah, he defends rape, but he also says that women are weak and can't defend themselves or win a fight. Anna's gonna be really mad about that.
I want to show the things that the motivational things that he says. You know, like when like motivation in general and how you can help get you motivation. Like stuff like that. I think that he's spot on. I think he says it in a terrible way, but he's definitely right and spot on. Like,
I know I'm gonna hate this.
You're probably gonna hate it because of how he says it, but like I'm gonna try to explain it to make it sound better.
I think enough people are receiving it the bad way for it to be wrong.
Well, yeah, because most people see only how he's saying it, not what he is saying.
And regardless of whether or not that's a good thing, it's still, there are people who are very impulsive, young people. He moved to Romania to escape abuse charges, by the way.
Yeah, he lives in Romania.
Yeah.
He was born in Romania.
Yeah, he moved back there, though.
Yes, he was getting chased by police.
I should have gotten this clip where he's talking about how the rules are so much more lax there and he's going to hit women.
Oh my god, yes. Oh my god, I was like, that. I mean, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. It's terrible. It's not good, but he's not wrong either. There's so many places where you can hit women and.
But it's a good thing.
What? Yeah. He likes places where he can do whatever the fuck he wants without consequences. He hates being controlled.
He's a bad person. Okay. Thank you for watching, everybody.
Hope you enjoyed. Let us know what you think about Andrew Tate in the comments if you want, or just like this video.
Please don't hate me.
Or just
Please don't hate me either.
I don't care if you hate me.
To be honest, you're strangers, so yeah, unless you're gonna come to my place and beat the shit out of me.
You recognize me from school? No, you don't. You've never seen me before.
Shut
You
up.
know we have friends here, right?
I forgot you were friends. Oh my god.
Anyway, okay, we need to
I like Anna here. Well, that's an outro, I guess.
And that's
Val, if you don't move or talk, you look like a teenage boy blurry.
your camera.
I can't. It won't work. It just goes a spinny thing from like.
Fuck you. There we go.
My camera is so dumb.
God.
Juice
Val,
box.
you share one of your clips first.
Okay. I don't have a clip. I didn't know we were doing it today. I didn't know it was today. I thought I just brought up, hey, let's talk about Andrew Tate and comment on what he says
Okay.
as an overall thing, as in like in the future. Not
Are you both just not moving, or are you frozen? Danny? 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 Danny?
Yeah.
Okay, you're alive. Good. Now I can't hear either of you. Hello? Help. I need somebody. Help. Not just anybody. Help. No, I need someone. Where did y'all go?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear Val?
What?
Can you hear me?
Val.
Yeah, now I can hear and see.
Okay. For the past 12 minutes, we have been trying to. I've spammed the Discord saying Anna, rejoin. I'm wording, I'm mouthing rejoin. I'm doing movements, and you're just like, hello, Danny, where'd you go? Are you gonna put on your camera? I'm like, what is putting on their camera gonna fucking do if you're not even looking at my camera?
Okay,
camera wasn't
everybody,
on.
everybody.
Your camera was,
Dude.
your
Everybody
camera
take a
wasn't
deep breath. Okay.
on. I can't hear them.
They cannot hear you, even when you're not muted. Anyways, let's just watch the stream. Let's just watch it. Let's watch the last video, and we'll get back to normal. Don't worry. That's why they're gonna switch back to the computer. Because anytime we go on our phones, can't hear you.
Yeah, one moment. She's so mad at me.
Why?
She is so pissed.
Why?
Also, I can't hear Danny.
Rejoin, Anna.
And now I can't hear you.
Rejoin.
Hello.
Nope.
What? Hello?
Nope.
Hello?
Nope. I can't hear you.
Hello? Hello? What the fuck?
Anna, is your
There's a So organized. Hello? 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 Hello?
My volume wasn't on.
I knew it.
You're having all sorts of tech problems today, aren't you?